This is a appellant's brief out of Texas, and this is the one where the attorney cited a bunch of cases that don't exist. And as we get through this, she cites a bunch of cases right after each other, and none of them are real. So this is a case that was filed in Texas in the Court of Appeals in the 5th District in Dallas, Texas. And this is a case about a probate estates and estates that were being attacked by a company charging them for collateral. So we get through this, and there's a bunch of cases that get cited, in particular 4 of them. This case here, Macy's, Texas, Incorporated, that one's not real. This one here, Stevens v. Beard, is not real. This one here, Gaston v. Monroe, is not real. And once again, she cites it again. It's not real. It's not real. Pro wrestling is more real than these cases are. Then there's this other one, the estate of Malpass versus Malpass. It's not real. It's not real. So what happened? Well, the courts in Texas on April 10th said, we're going to have to sit down here and talk about something because we got some problems. So we did some research, and there's a big issue. They cite the cases which could not be located by the appellee or the court, meaning opposing counsel, JGB collateral, couldn't find anything. There's not a certificate of compliance, and there isn't a signature of the party who filed the brief, and that's actually a big deal. You know, like who signed the brief? Well, when you get to the end of the brief, you know, normally you're going to find a signature, right? Okay, well, you get to the end of this, and you know, here's all the stuff they want done, and their prayer, they want to reverse the order granting the motion for summary judgment. Okay. And nothing. Even Russell Greer goes like, you know, he types all his stuff in here, but there's nothing here. And it was on a certificate of service. Like, ooh, uh-oh. Now, it's one thing if you mess that up. Like, you could fix a lot of things real quick. Like, but you don't even have the typewritten parts. Like, you forgot to sign on the line. I've done that before, but at least it says, you know, Sean Martin, you know, bar number 0091537. What's my bar number? You know, attorney for appellee or appellant. You know, here's my phone number. Here's my address. Here's my email. Here's my fax. Here's my phone number. Okay, cool. There's nothing here. Like, that's not a good look. So instead, what did the court order? They ordered the appearance to file with this court copies of the cases listed and to supplement their brief with a certificate of compliance and to signature the party who drafted the brief. So this part down here, these 2 parts aren't a big deal. This one here is, yeah, that's a bit of an issue. It's a bit of an issue. So they have 10 days. Well, they did. They did 10 days. On the 20th, there was a filing. And I don't know if this is the proper way how you caption it, but makes sense. Fair enough. Like, report to the court, report pursuant to court order. That's not really that big a deal. Like, I get it. I get where they're going here. So she says, the Honorable Court of Appeals, pursuant to this, I notify the court as follows. I filed a case with these cases here, A, B, C, and D. It says, despite exhaustive research in every reporter, online database, and regional archive available to appellant's counsel, appellant's counsel has been unable to locate the 4 authorities. Uh-oh. The undersigned counsel sincerely regrets the oversight of relying on third-party research without independent verification. I think somebody tried to use ChatGPT and they're lying about it. They're trying to be very coy, but I'm like, that smells like ChatGPT, chat. I mean, ooh. This has been a humbling and embarrassing lesson in the importance of verifying every citation at its source. Yeah. Appellant's counsel does not regularly practice law that requires use of case law research tools and does not have access to Westlaw or Lexis. Okay. Like, in Ohio, I joined the Ohio State Bar Association, and for like $30 a month, I have access to a Lexis, like a watered down version of Lexis. if I need in a pinch. Almost every state bar association has access to those things for people. And there's all kinds of like ghetto cheap ones out there. And then you can get access generally if you are a member of a local bar association. You also have access then to the law library. And you know what the neat part about the law libraries are? They get a Lexis or Westlaw subscription. And you get to run with a full-powered thing. And they use the internet in general, so meaning Google, and a temporary free trial access to a program known as Fastcase for law verification purposes. Appellant's counsel did not keep a record of all the internet searches done for the brief. An attempt to recreate the internet searches is not producing the source of these 4 cases. That's because they didn't do that. They used ChatGPT. They don't want to admit they did, but they did. Fastcase, as pointed out by the guy who broke this story, he's a appellate attorney out in Texas. His name's Doug Gladden. He talks about this. He says, Fastcase is available in full for free to all Texas lawyers. When you're, she said I use Fastcase. All right. And guess what? It's part of the Texas bar. So it's Texas bar and it gives it to you for free. So it's a free online access. Now, the bigger question I have is, going back to this, I don't regularly practice law. It requires the use of research tools, which you could be you could be like a transactional attorney, fine. But why are you writing an appeal if you don't normally do things involving like appellate measures or, relying on legal research? Because, yeah, every attorney knows basic research, but you get rusty if you don't do it. So why did you decide to write this goddamn appeal if this isn't your bag, if this isn't your thing? I mean, make matters even worse, you guys are trying to overturn a motion for summary judgment. So you've got to be really good. You have to convince the court the original court was wrong. That's a lot of work. That's hard. So this is all bullshit. They use ChatGPT. They say the appellant's counsel put the internet research results in the topic of Texas common law on the subject of gifts and mistakenly failed to verify those cases with Fastcase. No, but you're sounding like you said Fastcase caused this. Appellant's counsel accepts full responsibility for the error and has implemented enhanced protocols, including mandatory double check of all non-primary research so that no comparable mistake will reoccur. And you know what, though? That's what you do. When you fuck up, I messed up. I'm here to fix it. Please forgive me. That part's good. You're owning it. Now, here's the thing that kind of gives it away, though, that they use in ChatGPT. They use the internet search results on the topic of Texas common law on the subject of gifts. So what you go into ChatGPT says is, I need to find case law in Texas regarding gifts in terms of probate law. And it gives you what you want. So they were attempting to provide Texas common law on the subject of gifts and the elements necessary for a valid gift, which are available. Counsel was not attempting to say the court with fake citations or unsupported propositions. As an example, the case Stevens v. Beard, is that consideration is not necessary element to prove a transfer is a gift. And the elements necessary for a gift. And they point out there's another case, Cites v. Cites, which is correct. They're like, look, we found a real case where it happens. It doesn't help you're finding a real case now, but I appreciate the idea. The appellants are prepared to take whatever further action necessary to correct the errors made. If the court deems appropriate, appellants will submit a revised brief that cures every defect and doesn't contain references. And pursuant to the court's order, attached as Exhibit A is certificate of compliance, and B, the signature of the party as counsel. Now, if you see this here, that means electronic signature. So let's see the certificate of compliance, Exhibit A, and signature page respectfully submitted by the attorney. So it's like, foo, buddy. But yes, fake citations, no. They were using ChatGPT and they got caught. Like, we all know what happened. And that's okay. Just don't use ChatGPT.